you by Sports Plus. In the Sports Debate Show, we welcome your thoughts, say what you gotta say, so speak your mind freely. I'm your host for tonight, Kyla Cortez, and joining me are Javi Palanya and Juan Banal. How are you guys?
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. It's good to have Javi
Yeah.
not as an anchor today, as a
Sorry,
host.
medyo kinatan kita for
Okay lang. It's also refreshing to be on the panel again. Kasi iba rin yung feeling na nagbibigay ako ng mga analysis ko about
So medyo kailangan pagsamantalahan natin ngayon,
Oo,
Kyla,
eh.
na
Pigain
analyst siya,
natin.
di ba? So lahat ng pwedeng opinion na makuha natin kay Javi, pigain natin.
Ikaw ba gusto mo ba mag-host one day?
Pwede din!
Pwede din! Sige, pero never ako magiging nasa chair niyo. But, I know you guys are ready, but sports fans, if you're ready to elevate your sports experience, dive into the world of live sports like never before with Sports Plus PH. Whether you're a diehard fan or simply love the thrill of the game, we've got you covered. So register now at sportsplus.ph. So leading you guys with our hot takes for tonight. So, unang-una, dapat bang sumugal kay Mikey Williams? Second, dubs the Golden State Warriors on panic mode. And of course, our fantasy question, JG for JC, Jalen Green, and Jordan Clarkson lalaro para sa Gilas? What if, no? And of course, our NBA SPN expert picks. So, eto na. Unang usapan. So, Mikey Williams of TNT from PBA. Dapat bang sumugal kay Mikey Williams, no? Since yun nga, no, parating na ang Dubai International Basketball Championships. Sa tingin nyo, anong thoughts nyo dito?
Well, and you know, Mikey Williams, of course, he's an incredible basketball talent. We've seen that in his short stint with the TNT Tropang Giga, wherein he won 2 championships with them, and he's also a guy who has extensive international experience. Although he went undrafted in the NBA, he was able to play in the G League for the Skyforce and the Canton Charge, and then played in the MPBL for the Saigon Heat, and then went on to the Philippines to play in the MPBL before he was drafted in the PBA. So, you know, any team would really love to have a Mikey Williams. Yung problema lang talaga, yung nangyari, you know, there were really contract disputes that they weren't able to agree upon with the TNT Tropang Giga. But you know, with what happened right now, signing him dito sa SGA with the upcoming Dubai International Tournament, it really seems that Coach Charles Chu and the Strong Group, they have kumbaga yung magandang loob ni Mikey Williams kasi ang bilis lang eh. They were able to sign him right away even though that he wasn't able to come here because of some family emergencies. Pinagbigyan nila and he was able to arrive yesterday, went straight to practice despite the jet lag. So, you know, it's gonna be nice to have Mikey Williams with the Converge Fiber Xers, although they will have a very loaded backcourt. They already have a loaded backcourt right now, but this is a good problem that they can have.
Okay, one.
Yeah, well, this is like a second time coming for Mikey Williams. He was already invited to play last time. Hindi lang natuloy kasi nga nagkaroon ng parang naging controversial pa yun eh.
Yeah.
Yung last time na inimbita siya, di ba? At he didn't show up, no-show siya. You would like to think na medyo nagkaroon ng tampo tong Strong Group, di ba? And yet, here they are. Kasi commitment goes both ways eh, di ba? So, obviously, yung SGA committed kay Mikey. Kasi for them to invite him again and to even open their doors na pabalikin si Mikey after what happened last time na no-show siya, pagkatapos inasahan na nandyan siya. It's a proof na baka nga legitimate yung reason last time kung bakit hindi nakapunta. And on the flip side, si Mikey din naman, pinakita niya na, look, nag-fly ako ng 5 a.m., 10 a.m. ang practice, nandyan ako, ganun na ako committed, hindi maulit yun na nangyari last time, di ba? So, ang question kasi is, dapat bang sumugal kay Mikey? In what sense, di ba? Ako, for me, the fact that he's already here, you've won half the fight, di ba? Parang ang unang laban dyan is para mapapunta mo dito, eh, di ba? Magpakita siya kasi yun pa lang, hindi nangyari last time. Ngayon nangyari na yun. So, half of that is talent. Mapapakinabangan mo ba ang isang Mikey Williams sa ganitong tournament? Definitely, yung track record ni Mikey for him to, I mean, nagkataon lang na ang kalaban niya sa MVP race is si Junmar Fajardo. Eh, talaga naman dehado siya doon, di ba? But, if let's say we didn't have a Junmar Fajardo, this guy would have won already an MVP in the PBA. Di ba? So, alam natin na capable siya. He's carried TNT on his shoulders. So, I think, okay, we've seen kasi this kind of story happen before. Si Jordan Hiding, ganyan nangyari na yan eh, di ba? Hindi nagpakita, hindi nagpapunta ng PBA, ang daming pinagdaanan, hindi man lang nagpakita sa Gilas, so on and so forth. And yet, SGA and Sir Frank Lau and Jacob Lau doing their thing, and turning something into a miracle. And Coach Charles is quite confident that it's the same case with Mikey. Obviously, there are a lot of disputes with contracts, and obviously his rights are still under TNT. But I think this guy has been wanting to play. I've been talking to people around Mikey, and he's just been waiting. And there's a lot of kwento back and forth kung bakit hindi natuloy yung TNT. But in other words, Mikey has just been waiting for that call. Di ba kasi ang kabado ka dito, kung ikaw ang SGA, di ba natin nakikita maglaro ulit to? Ang tagal na bakante ni Mikey, di ba? So, game shape ba siya? Saan ba siya nagpapakondisyon? Di ba? Ang claim ni Coach Charles is kondisyon naman, di ba? Hindi naman tumigil daw mag-train si Mikey. Pero to compete in this level, and then you're talking about an international tournament right away, iba usapan. Imposibleng walang game rust yan si Mikey. But then again, if you're Coach Charles Chu, you did mention having na loaded yung lineup. So, kunwari, worst case scenario, di ba? Hindi nga kondisyon yung Mikey Williams. Pero may Jason Brickman ka naman, di ba? Meron ka rin naman Tony Inod dyan, nandiyan pa rin si David Defonso, Renza Bando. But again, I think in terms of point guard position, aasahan nila tong si Mikey, tsaka itong si Jason Brickman. Now, for me kasi, hindi yun yung angulo tinitingnan ko kasi Mikey Williams is still Mikey Williams and he can play backup point guard if wala siya sa tamang kondisyon, and Jason Brickman will probably play heavy minutes, di ba? But then, alam ng lahat ng tao kung paano itong maglaro si Mikey Williams. And he's not your point guard like Jason Brickman.
He's a points guard.
He's a points guard.
Okay.
With a heavily loaded lineup with DeMarcus Cousins there. Again, David Defonso, we'll see him again. Renza Bando is still there. Malakay Richardson. Ang daming pangalan pa rin, di ba, na pwedeng gumawa. But then for me kasi kung mababayaran mo yung DeMarcus Cousins, malamang sa malamang bibigyan mo ng bola yung DeMarcus Cousins, di ba? May Ange Kwame ka pa dyan. Andre Blanche is actually still in the lineup, di ba? So, the question is, again, we trust in the capacity of Coach Charles Chu. So I'm assuming that when Jason Brickman's on the floor, itatapat niya yan sa ibang player na gagawa. Diba? Hindi mo pwedeng isabay si Mikey sa ganong klaseng player eh. Diba? Pag si Mikey ang nag-point guard, syempre puro utility ang isasabay mo kasi i-expect mo na magiging scoring guard siya, di ba? Because he's that explosive. So, to ask if tataya ba dapat ng SGA kung okay na tumaya kay Mikey Williams is still Mikey Williams. Talent for talent, he's still capable. We have yet to see if he's on top shape, but nonetheless, I think I'd rather have him on the team than not have him on the team. Bakit? Sino ipapalit mo sa kanya?
Exactly.
Di ba? Yun yung big question.
And also, the question naman here talaga is, aside from him being in the Dubai tournament, the question really here, the biggest question here is, susugal ba ang Converge sa kanya? Is it a good thing for the Converge Fiber Xers to bring him into the PBA, although his rights are still with TNT? Well, Coach Charles, he was able to get Mikey Williams to play here in the SGA.
First step na yun.
Yes,
that's the first
exactly.
step.
And because of that, we can see that there is really a close relationship between Coach Charles Chu and Mikey Williams. And we think that because this happened, they can make it happen that Converge can strike a deal with TNT and make it happen na makapaglaro si Mikey Williams for the Fiber Xers maybe in the coming season.
Yeah,
we would love to see that.
Yeah.
Like, we would love to see a Jordan Heading and Mikey Williams backcourt.
Okay, but before we move on to our next topic, last na, what do you guys think will be the Mikey Williams effect?
Well, just like Juan mentioned earlier, we don't know what Mikey Williams can bring into the game initially because of the game rust that he's had. He hasn't played in a tournament for so long, but definitely, his presence will be felt because Coach Charles Chu has already mentioned in a lot of interviews that his two best guards in the rotation are Jason Brickman and Mikey Williams. So we definitely will be seeing Coach Charles utilize Mikey Williams in his capacity the way that we saw him before with TNT.
And for me, if he isn't in his top shape, okay, assuming you still have other players that are, and I think they can bring in and then they can compensate. Kumbaga sila ang gagawa ng paraan para matabunan man yung pagkukulang ng Mikey Williams. But like I said, kung wala si Mikey Williams, who would you bring in? Diba? And so it's still good to have a Mikey Williams in a team.
All right, our second hot take. Time to move on. Dubs on panic mode. Why? What do you guys think happened? Ano nangyayari dito sa Golden State Warriors?
Well, a lot of people are panicking because Steph Curry is having a slump. Di ba? Parang last game, he shot 5 out of 21 from the field. That's 2 out of 14 from the three-point line. But then overall, itong Golden State niya, medyo after hot start, 12-3 run, and then biglang sinundan ng 3-12. Di ba? Na losing streak sila. And so, they're right now back to almost 5.500. I think their standing is 19 and 19 and 20, diba? So, October, November, they were performing well, but then December and January hit, and then doon na nagsimula yung slump. And so, one of the major moves that they made is Dennis Schroeder, diba? Coming into the lineup. And so, I think the big question here talaga, it's not about being on panic mode. We've seen LA, di ba, yung mga pagate, di ba si LA, ganyan din naman pinag-uusapan, 500%, below 500 sila, magpapanik naman, then they make the playoffs, di ba? You're talking about Steph Curry, and you're talking about Draymond Green, di ba? And then, so hindi naman, do not count them out. But what I'm saying is, if you were Golden State, and I think ito yung mas importanteng question, if you're Golden State, are you gonna go all in now? Or are you considering the future? Because that's the conversation that they had with Draymond Green. Diba? In my opinion, which again, I'll pass it on to Javi later on. And in my opinion, ride the wave while Steph Curry can. Habang kaya pang maglaro ni Steph Curry at this level, yes, he may not have a magical entire season na ganito top tier siya ngayon, di ba? Na ganito. Hindi niya magiging consistent, di ba? He's a shooter. There are off nights. It will happen. Diba? But, like I said, we've never, again, the way Steph Curry is playing today, he's still playing on a top tier level. And so for me, if you're Golden State, you wanna make sure that you still make the most out of the kind of Steph Curry that you're getting, because in 2-3 years time, it may not be the same. Diba? Yes, you have the future in mind. The Jordan Poole thing was there, the conversation. Jonathan Kuminga now is the guy that they feel like they're grooming. Slowly put the pieces in. But then again, you have to think, if you're gonna ride the wave of Steph Curry right now, think of the year that they won with Kevin Durant. He had also the right pieces, eh. Diba? And it's not just utility pieces, eh. Hindi lang siya minor support cast. You're talking about Klay Thompson at his peak. You're talking about Draymond Green at his peak. Talking about Steph Curry at his peak. And you're talking about Kevin Durant at his peak. That's what it took for them to win. And so you need to think again. Diba? Parang kung susugal ka na, sugalan mo na ngayon, itaya mo na, kunin mo na yung mga Jimmy Butler of the worlds, diba? And then win while Steph is there. Because I know Steph is looking to go like one last push. Ride it. But then, think after the future after. Huwag mo na munang isipin yung future ngayon. Mataas pa yung yung stock ni Steph Curry. Sakin mo na muna yun.
I totally agree with the sentiment of Juan. You know, you can think of the future in 2 to 3 years, but right now na nandyan pa si Steph Curry, right now that he's still playing at the top tier level, go and put together the pieces you need for him to get another run at the championship. And for me, it's two things. You know, Draymond Green already mentioned that he needs to get his edge back. You know, aminado naman siya na if he gets his edge back, Golden State will get their edge back. And number two, what identity do they want to have right now? Now, you know, Golden State in the past 10 years, their three-point shooting has dwindled. From the championship that they won all the way now, they're shooting at an all-time low, 36.2% from three-point country. And that's 14th in the league right now. They were tops in the past 10 years, and right now they're down to the 14th. And, you know, the guys around Steph Curry right now, we mentioned Jonathan Kuminga. Yes, he is the guy for the future that Golden State is trying to groom. He's having his best season yet, but we also flashed Andrew Wiggins. Ever since Andrew Wiggins went to Golden State, his numbers have also gone down every year. He's shooting at a career high low, 16.2 points per game right now, and I think these guys have to step up along with Buddy Hield. The last time Buddy Hield played at an all-star level performance was back in Indiana, and that was a few years ago. And the last time that he played and scored around 20 to 19 points per game was still when he was in Sacramento, and that was, what, 6-7 years ago.
Would you say now, Javi, and I would ask, you change roles, ako naman mag-host.
Okay, go,
Kasi gusto ko tanongin to eh. Kasi parang, it's either you live on the dream of the old Golden State or you recreate a new identity.
Exactly.
Diba? Kasi parang, you mentioned it, that this is not the same Golden State, but you have to understand, it took those 4 guys to win a championship. in the NBA. And then now that you have guys that are not performing at the same level as Klay and Kevin Durant, and then you have Draymond Green, subpar performance, half of how he was performing before. Diba? Now you're pinning it on a Steph Curry who's not performing, having off nights. He had off nights also when Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, and Draymond were there. But nobody called it out. But ngayon ramdam na ramdam ng Golden State kasi sa kanya lang umaasa lahat. You know what it takes to win a championship if you're Golden State because it took those 4 guys to win. And then you're giving him all these pieces and then expecting him na, dapat we're performing better. You're not giving him pieces to perform better. Jonathan Kuminga, Wiggins are not KD and Klay. Obviously. Draymond is not the same. And then you want Golden State to perform better than how they performed before? That's crazy. Diba? So kung ako sa inyo, diba, parang mag-invest na kayo. I-trade nyo na, ilabas nyo na yung war chest nyo, win while Steph is there because Steph deserves that kind of support.
Yeah.
The loyalty that he showed to Golden State deserves that kind of reciprocation. We're not saying hindi ginagawa ng Golden State yun, pero kulang.
And if this is the world-class organization that Draymond Green has been saying that Golden State is, they definitely have to put the pieces around Steph Curry right now, right here. Because if they don't, then sinasabi lang ni Draymond, it's just all BS. Because right now, they need to put pieces around Steph Curry because Kuminga, Buddy Hield, Andrew Wiggins are not enough. Sinabi na ni Juan, and I'm gonna echo that same sentiment right now. You're gonna need a guy like Jimmy Butler, all-star caliber players to make a run at the championship. And Steph Curry, you're right, Juan, he deserves that.
Yeah, and it's funny natawa lang ako kay Draymond. I'm not a hater of Draymond, okay? I'm just saying na parang sinabi niya na, if I get my groove back, we're gonna get our groove back. Parang, Draymond, even if you're playing 100% of how you're supposed to be playing, you're not the same Draymond. Right? So, for me...
And actually, Juan, it can even be said that the downfall of Golden State can be accounted to Draymond Green.
Exactly.
Right after they won that title, he punched Jordan Poole in training camp, and that's when it started.
And you might even want to consider the fact, I know some Golden State Warriors may hate me for saying this, but you can trade the guy, di ba?
Yeah, exactly.
Trade Draymond to get another key player, di ba? And you gotta think, what are the things that we need? Nuggets from one end. Okay, we're obviously talking about, kaya naman na-bring up yung should we think of the future. Because right now, the teams that are performing well are teams that have invested 2-3 seasons ago with younger guys, and now they're reaping it.
Yeah, OKC,
diba?
The Cleveland Cavaliers.
Correct. Diba? Siguro isa na lang talaga yung Nuggets, diba? With Russell Westbrook, may resurgence sa career niya, diba? Now, he's playing so much well. But then if you look at the teams that have the same caliber as Steph Curry, like LA Lakers, diba? Sila rin parang on the fence. Should we invest in the young? Should we still support? Do we go hirap na hirap sila mag-decision. For me, ang barometer lang para sa decision na to is, does Steph Curry deserve it? And he does. So, put everything aside, forget favoritisms, forget Draymond, make the moves that Steph Curry needs for him to win another chip.
I think final take right there is, it should come from management, from Michael Dunleavy and the ownership group that if they really want to still win a championship, they should be able to make moves now. Announce na nila kung ano talaga yung gusto nila mangyari.
Yeah. Okay, it's time to move on to our fantasy question. What if Jalen Green and Jordan Clarkson lalaro para sa Gilas Pilipinas? What do you guys think?
Well,
What if lang
these guys, syempre, ang
Okay,
sarap.
parang what if ng Marvel to, di ba? So, parang hypothetical, di ba? Na parang
masyadong umasa
kalimutan na natin lahat ng rational reasoning sa mundo. Sabihin lang natin, in a multiverse, in a different universe, at merong Pinoy talaga na, alam mo yung parang they're gonna be treated as locals. Itong si Jalen Green, tsaka si Jordan Clarkson, and then you have a naturalized player in Justin Brownlee. In a multiverse, in another universe, can this work? Yun yung question na lang. Para lang fantasy, what if talaga?
Okay, for me, I would love to have these two guys. Obviously, Jalen Green is going to be one of the faces of the NBA in the years to come. Jordan Clarkson is still playing at an elite level despite him playing his 10th season in the NBA. He's still a very valuable piece to any team that will have him. Look at his numbers there on your screen. Jalen Green, that's 19.8 points per game from 17.3 in his rookie year. We would love to have them in Gilas Pilipinas. But guys, at the end of the day, basketball is a team sport. Yes, they would make a short-term difference, but with the goals that we have, with the goals that Gilas Pilipinas has right now under Coach Tim Cone, I'm afraid it's not gonna work.
Ako kasi, all right. Let's just take it one step at a time, di ba? Talent for talent, obviously, these guys are elite NBA players, di ba? Pag dinala mo sa PBA yan, or so kahit anong liga dito sa Pilipinas, kakainin nilang buhay. Correct? Talent for talent. Hence, that's why they're in the NBA. Di ba? It's that difficult to get to that status. Now, when you look at Team USA, I firmly believe that initially, they depended heavily on talent. Diba? When they realized and they got hit in the head na, hindi pala kakayanin ng talent, kailangan rin pala system.
Exactly.
Diba? Kailangan ng sistema. So, that's why they won, right? Because prior to that, system was beating talent. When you look at the European teams, they had flawless systems. They may not have the most, parang, yung pinakamalalim na talent pool, katulad ng Team USA. But they were able to dominate and beat USA for a couple of years because of system. Then, the USA, parang nagising yung USA na, kailangan let's form the strongest team, but at the same time, sabayan natin with a system that works. Now, looking at our Gilas, what got us to where we are today is not talent but system, right? That's what happened. So, but like I said, this can work in a fantasy world if for some reason si Jalen Green at si Jordan Clarkson said, I am putting my personal clout and ego aside, and then sasabihin ko, I'm gonna play for the country. Yung legitimate, yun ang pinaglalaban, ha? Kung yun talaga. Diba? The same way Kobe and the rest of the team in his last, they said, we're putting egos aside, we're gonna play as a team. Right? And Kobe set the tone correctly. And I think Jordan Clarkson, when he comes, is senior than Jalen Green. So feeling ko siya ang magdidictate na pag pumasok siya at sinabi niya, I'm gonna contribute in a way that you want me to contribute. Right? If that's
he has
the
to be the one to set the tone.
Correct. If that's the case, then imagine a team with Jalen Green and Jordan Clarkson's talent in a system of Tim Cone that everyone is contributing efficiently and effectively. I would want that team.
But with our current lineup, syempre, Jordan Clarkson nakalaro
Sino
na.
tatanggalin?
Pero, what about their team chemistry?
Hindi, I hypothetically nga, na if they put ego aside and they say, para sa bansa, pag magpapakumbaba ako, ilalaro ko yung kailangan sa akin ni Tim Cone. For example, then obviously ako, sorry to say, for example, Scotty, if you were to choose Scotty Thompson or Jalen Green, obviously you'll pick Jalen Green if Jalen Green can play the way Scotty Thompson is playing in the sense na ito yung contribution niya. Kasi talent for talent, on paper, syempre, Jalen Green pa rin. So it's kind of like leveling up our guards with the kind of NBA players that we're adding.
Yeah, that's the only way, it's gonna work with the Jalen Green and Jordan Clarkson because yun na nga, sinabi na nga ni Juan kanina, plug and play is not working anymore at the international level. Team USA, the best country basketball-wise in the world, has already succumbed to that. So it's really a system right now. We need to realize that it really is a team game, and that's what Coach Tim Cone is doing right now, and that's why we've had so much success recently.
And isipin mo for us to be successful, it took Justin Brownlee to have the ball in his hands. So if you have a Jalen Green and a Jordan Clarkson, papayag ba yan? Hindi naman nag-NBA ito at wala to sa caliber ko. Pero
there's gonna be so much egos around that you have to manage.
Endgame, ibibigay mo kay Justin Brownlee, hindi ikaw titira. Kaya mo bang gawin yun?
Pero okay, na-mention mo na nga si JB, but JB is already in the latter stage of his career. So maybe JB will now be able to give the ball to these guys to be able to deliver in crunch time. Who knows? It is a hypothetical question.
And then you also have
fantasy that we want.
Pero you also have bigs that are on the rise. Like Kai Soto, di ba? These guys are now, di ba, upward yung trajectory nila. So I'm assuming sila na dapat yung magte-take over eventually. Ngayon, sasabayan mo ng NBA na mataas yung ego. So again, hypothetically, what if? If they can set aside their ego, play within the system, and forget that they're NBA in the sense na yung ego NBA, na parang, sa akin bola, NBA ako di ba? If they can play within the system, I would still have that any given day. Talent for talent, having a Jalen Green and a Jordan Clarkson in the team is still a fantasy that we want.
Well, also, if FIBA can pagbigyan na nila tayo na
Multiverse
paglaro
naman,
sila
Abby,
as
multiverse.
locals.
Multiverse sa ibang universe, pinayagan na ng
Hindi,
FIBA.
malay mo, malay
Balita
mo.
ko.
What if, di ba?
Balita ko, pinayagan na. Yung Watcher, sinabi.
Again, guys, to our viewers or watchers, no, baka mamaya sabihin nila, i-point out ang sabi ng Sports Plus, maglalagay na ano. Guys, again, fantasy
Hypothetical
question
lang.
lang to, ah. So, any last thoughts before we move on to our SPN expert picks?
Well, yun nga, we love to have these two guys play for the national team. Again, FIBA, I'm calling out to you. Pagbigyan nyo naman kami, oh. Pinagbigyan nyo naman yung ibang countries, eh.
Correct.
Pagbigyan nyo naman kami na paglaruin na as locals, si Jalen Green and Jordan Clarkson, please.
Yun lang, pag pinaglaro natin yung dalawa, lahat na ng sports walang budget.
Yun lang.
Mauubos na dito sa dalawang
All eggs in one basket, and that's basketball. But what's you, right?
Okay. One?
No, I'm just again country over clout. You know, if country over ego. If that can happen in a what if universe, then I think it can work.
All right, it's time to move on to our SPN expert picks. So, Javi,
All right, for our first game tomorrow, we have San Antonio versus Memphis. I picked San Antonio for this one because, San Antonio, they were up against LA in their previous game and they were down almost the whole game and they were able to make a huge comeback and they were able to dominate LA in the end game to be able to win. That's why I'm having them over Memphis in this game because they really have great momentum coming into this one, especially because they are in a good position to climb up in the Western number 9 so far right now. Memphis, although they have been impressive in their previous 5 games, Ja Morant has been great in 3 of their last 5 games, but I'm picking San Antonio just because of Victor Wembanyama and the 2 guys, Cassell and the other guy that has been really great para sa Spurs.
Yeah, I'm, like I said, since day one, we started season 2, I've been a Victor Wembanyama fan. I'm really optimistic na nagsama sila ni Chris Paul. Excited ako doon. But then again, ako, numbers don't lie. In the last 10 games that they met each other, 9 games napunta dun sa Memphis. So 9 out of 10 the games na nagkita tong Memphis and San Antonio, talo yung San Antonio. So on that note, and even if you take a look at the standing, 25 out of 25-15 ang record ng Memphis while San Antonio is 19-19. So I think not yet. Eventually, I think yung sa point ni Javi, eventually tatalunin na din ng San Antonio to Memphis kasi nga upward yung trajectory nila. But it's too early for that to assume. So I have to say I'm going with Memphis on this one.
okay, next naman, Golden State Warriors against Minnesota Timberwolves.
For this game, I have the Minnesota Timberwolves going up against the Golden State Warriors because, the Timberwolves really have been learning how to play with each other. This new core of Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, being able to play with Rudy Gobert and Anthony Edwards has been doing good in the past few games. 4-1 in the last 5 games, while Golden State, they have really been in the slump. We've talked about it earlier. So that's something that they need to figure out against a Minnesota team that has already been having it figured out.
Yeah, and I agree with Javier. They've won 4 out of their 5 last games, while Golden State, like what sinabi nga natin kanina, they're on a slump. 1 out of the 5 games lang ang napanalo nila, and sinabi nga ni Draymond Green, hanggang wala pa daw siya sa tamang hulog, hindi daw sila mananalo. Feeling ko, hindi wala pa siya sa tamang hulog. So feeling ko, itong Minnesota yung mananalo. And 6 out of the 10 games that Golden State and Minnesota saw each other, panalo Minnesota doon. So 6 out of the 10 games, Minnesota won. Minnesota is doing well at home. 10-8 ang record nila. Samantalang ang Golden State is away games naman nila. 9-10 ang record nila. So medyo pabor to sa Minnesota. Again, like what Javi said, nasa tamang momentum, nasa tamang ayos ngayon yung Minnesota. Golden State is still trying to figure out who they want to be, how they're gonna win, and Draymond Green is still delusional. So anyway, so I'm going with Minnesota.
All right, and then for Miami Heat against Los Angeles Lakers.
For this one, I'm going up against one again. I'm picking the LA Lakers to win this one because LA, they're coming off a loss against San Antonio, as I mentioned earlier. They're currently at number 7 right now, and a win here will pull them closer to the Dallas Mavericks, who are on a 2-game slide. They really need this win to be able to climb up in the Western Conference, and I think it's kind of high time already for the Lakers to be able to pick things up, especially because of what happened in LA because because of the fires.
Yeah. I think that's true. I think medyo mabigat at masakit. May pinaglalaban yung LA,
Yeah.
'di ba? Kasi nga they're trying to represent their city. Pagkatapos nga sa mga nangyari, I'm going with Miami because I think meron din silang kailangan patunayan, 'di ba? I think the rest of the guys there feel like parang sa lahat na nangyayaring off-court drama with Jimmy Butler, I think the guys that are in the team want to make a statement also na if ayaw niya maglaro at ayaw niya sa amin at madaming ganyan, it doesn't mean we're gonna lose. I think we're gonna win. And I think a lot of guys are stepping up for Miami. 7 out of the 10 times na nagkita tong Miami at LA, panalo ang Miami. So, even if more or less, dikit kasi yung standing nila, 2017, 2018, di ba? But Miami has won 3 out of their 5 games. And then LA nga has won 2 out of their 5 games. So, medyo slight lang, very slight lang yung edge ng Miami. They're not doing so well in away games. 10-11 ang record nila, samantalang ang LA naman is doing well. 12-6 ang record nila sa home. So again, dadayo ang Miami sa LA. Ang ironic kasi dito is, sorry I'm not joking about this, I apologize in advance. Pero Miami Heat sila, di ba? Tapos nasunog yung LA. So medyo hindi ko alam kung may connection yun. But Miami might be bringing the heat. But LA will be ready to fight that fire. Anyway.
Okay, teka lang. Just to recap, Memphis Grizzlies against San Antonio Spurs. San Antonio, Memphis, tama? And then Golden State Warriors and Timberwolves. Pares kayong Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yes.
And then Miami Heat and Los Angeles Lakers and Miami Heat. Tama. Okay, thank you guys for your SPN expert picks. It's time for our comments. Pass na kayo dyan kay Mikey, matanda na may toyo pa. Eggles kayo dyan, SGA pag naglaro sa Converge, tapos may bibitawan kayo for trade.
Well, the last time that Converge offered TNT a trade for Mikey Williams, it was for a draft pick, a first pick in the 3rd round. So this tells us that TNT is willing to let Mikey Williams go for a not so great value. But because things bogged down, parang naisip naman na ulit natin ngayon na, teka lang, baka nagdadalawang isip ang TNT. Maybe they do want something of value for Mikey Williams. So, the drama will continue, I assume, especially with Mikey Williams playing for SGA in Dubai. So, abangan natin kung ano mangyayari in the next few weeks.
Yeah, it's still, again, it's another what if, di ba? Kung Sir Frank Lau will be able to work his wonders na mapapunta niya to si Mikey sa Converge, but you'd love to see kasi yung Converge naman, it's a mix of young and then you have now more talented players, diba? They have now Justin Baltazar, and then ako nga si Jordan Hiding, it was a good addition talaga. It was the veteran talented player that they needed. Then if you add another Mikey Williams to that roster, I think they're gonna be highly competitive, diba? You have to put them in the top 4 teams if Mikey Williams is added to that lineup. So without a doubt, they're a semifinals contender. They're even a championship contender with that kind of lineup. So I think hindi pa siya nalipasan. Ako yun yung opinion ko si Mikey, di ba? Meron pang 2 years, 3 years pa pwedeng ipakita si Mikey.
Years old, definitely a lot of basketball ahead.
I think madami siyang ipapakita, and Converge is definitely looking for those pieces that will put them on the map as to compete with those very, very strong lineups.
Okay, next comment. Sorry, Dubs fans, tapos na yung pagiging contender nyo. O may edad na si Tito Steph at Tito Draymond. #fact, you guys need to rebuild.
Yeah. So I think yun yung dilemma I have, di ba? Para, do we let Steph Curry play out the remaining career and then think of the future? Kasi kung gano'n na lang rin, syempre hindi nila iti-trade si Steph, di ba? But I think they can still get valuable players if they plan. Di ba? But it's a decision nga sa back end, di ba? But ako, you have to reciprocate yung loyalty ng Steph Curry.
Exactly. Are you gonna play it out like the Lakers played out Kobe's final few years, or are you really still gonna try and ride out the final years of Steph Curry trying to win a championship? So it really has to come from management, Michael Dunleavy and the ownership group. They have to announce, especially with the trade deadline looming in, they have to make the fans realize kung ano ba talaga ang pwede mangyari dito sa Golden State Warriors moving forward.
Okay, next comment. Sarap sana kung lalaro sila. Sure ball, lagi tayong champions sa Asia, tapos aabot tayo sa KO round sa Olympics and FIBA World Cup. I guess he's referring to Jalen Green and...
Well, yeah, definitely.
Balita ko dun sa isang universe, nangyari na yan.
Nangyari na eh.
Pwede ba ako pumunta doon?
Parang hindi naman
Nakapunta ka na ba?
nangyari na
Nakapunta ka yata doon sa kabila eh. Well, syempre, we already talked about kanina. Ang sarap sana that, but there are definitely a lot of things that we have to tackle before we have these guys on board. Of course, one part is getting them to come here, but also another part is the time that they can spend with the current roster. That's the chemistry that they have to build. Yan yung nagiging issue with Jordan Clarkson in the last World Cup, and that's why it's still something that it's a tall mountain to climb, maybe taller than Mount Everest.
Wala, imposible. Sa mundo na to, imposible po yan. Pero for the sake of conversation, masarap man isipin. I want to be a billionaire. Masarap din isipin yun. Pero hindi rin siguro. Not anytime soon, di ba? It's the same with this too.
Okay, our last comment. Oh,
Ooh.
si Devon Harp,
Devon
Harp, Rob Parker, at Al Segovia talaga dapat ang asa Shakila.
Alam mo to si Coach
Panahon
Martin.
ba to?
Thank you, Coach
Alam mo to
Hammer.
si Coach Hammer, idol niyan si Devon Harp. Favorite niya yan.
Ilang
Diba?
beses niya na talaga minimension
Nag-player
yan eh.
of the conference pa yan. Pero alam naman natin kung ano yung medyo ini-imply ni Coach Martin dito. Pero kung yun nga nangyari, malay mo, again, anything is possible. Unahin mo muna natin yung Mikey Williams na mag-PBA ulit. Kasi yun pa lang, parang medyo delikado na yung nangyayari yun eh, di ba?
First things first.
Correct.
Okay, thank you guys so much for your comments. Now, just to recap our discussions today, no? So, Mikey Williams.
First, one step at a time, di ba? SGA, prove himself. I think if he plays well there, then I think it's a good sign for Converge to pursue getting him on the lineup, move hell and high water to just get him there. But take it one step at a time. I think nga, the first step was for him to show up. Yun, maganda ng pahiwatig yun eh, di ba? Na nagpakita talaga yung Mikey Williams compared to the last time that he was invited. Tapos ngayon, di ba, now he has to play.
Yeah.
Di ba? And then we will see. I think the conversation will progress after them trying to win this championship. So that's my take on Mike.
And I think, Coach Charles, they and Converge, they realize this. Di nila pinapanganahan yung mga sarili nila. Even when a lot of the media have been asking them, are they gonna pursue Mikey Williams for Converge? Sinasabi nila din, we'll focus muna on Dubai and then let's see.
Okay, next naman, Golden State Warriors on panic mode.
Ako, like I said, give Steph, huwag na si Draymond, no? But give Steph the respect that he deserves. I think he's giving it his all this season, and to expect him to carry the team by himself is just absurd. Sira ulo lang ang mag-iisip na kaya niyang gawin mag-isa. So I think trade everyone else. Give him the all-star lineup that he needs to win 1 or 2 more championships, and then think of rebuilding after. Steph deserves that. That's what he brought to the franchise. You have to reciprocate it. And he came from an Olympic stint, di ba?
Yeah.
I think sakyan nyo yun eh, mainit eh. Di ba? Sakyan nyo. Not all games will be perfect, but sakyan nyo habang mainit.
And this is the first time in a long while that we've seen Steph really kind of suffer in a season, right? The previous seasons have been very positive para sa kanya, and right now he's really having a hard time trying to carry this team on his shoulders because this is the first time that he's really trying to do that for Golden State. So tama, I agree with Juan that give him the respect that he deserves by giving him the pieces that he needs to make another run at the championship.
Again and again, or what if Jalen, Jordan, Gilas. Ibang universe, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, again, SPN expert pick. So for Javi, San Antonio Spurs, Minnesota Timberwolves, and Los Angeles Lakers. For Juan, Memphis Grizzlies, also Minnesota Timberwolves, and Miami Heat. Okay,
Pwede ba dun sa other universe, payat din ako? Saka medyo masel-masel ako. Pagsasamantala ako, pinag-uusapan na natin yung isang buwan.
Bakit
Baka
hindi?
doon, medyo iba tayo. Hammer ang Coach Hammer ang katawan natin.
Shout out to you, Coach Hammer. So, again, sports fans, if you're ready to elevate your sports experience, please download and register at Sports Plus PH. So again, guys, to mention, meron tayong giveaway with PLDT. So ayun, are you a fan of the PLDT high-speed hitters? So guys, There, share and react to this promo post, comment your selfie with a friend because you will win 2 tickets and of course merch, no? So mapapanood nyo ang PLDT. So mangyayari to every PLDT game. So if hindi man kayo mapili for this one, guys, come on, join lang ng join because this might be your time to shine. Okay, but thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. Again, follow us on our social media accounts on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and of course, join our community Facebook page, no, for more updates at Usapang Sports Bus. So once again, I'm Kyla Cortez, and I'm with Javi Palanya and Juan Banal. Thank you guys, and have a good night.
There's a bunch of different things that just like put it all together. Everything has like a different meaning.